Alrighty, guys. I got the pan off. Some of y'all recognize this transmission, 8 HP. Alright, the ZF version. We're rear wheel drive transmission. Boy, they starting to add a lot of junk to these electronic devices to these. Look, this is the transfer case. On front wheel drive, they may be considered PTUs. Yeah, this. Okay. Anyway, I gotta do a valve body, guys. I got this weird fault code. I'm gonna put the fault code in the description because I forgot it. I can't remember that stuff by heart. But anyway, that code under the diagnostic tree led me to the TCM. All right, now TCM. Everybody know what that stands for? Transmission Control Module. However, there's no external black box transmission module per se. When you're using a 8 HP transmission. You know why? Because that transmission module is inside the valve body. Yeah, so the TCM is part of the valve body, guys. Go figure. In this pan, I got the pan off. Now I'm getting ready to replace the valve body, but I'm getting ready to replace the valve body because I have to replace the TCM. Like I say, it's a combination package. Now I want to say this is not a tutorial on how to replace the valve body. Although, I mean, this is fairly simple, my guys. I'm removing all the bolts. First, I gotta, I'm gonna disconnect this accumulator. This is an accumulator, and of course, you gotta disconnect the wiring connector and pull this out. So, and after release the bolts to the valve body, after you disconnect this parking pause right here, I'm gonna take this off, and then this will be able to move. So I'm gonna have to tie that down to where it'll stay put. And only then when that valve body drop. Now, let's see if we can find the actual TCM. All right, here's my new part. Yeah, the valve body / TCM. Again, I don't know. Okay, now here's the package it came with. I got the electrical connector, and I got all new bolts. I don't know what's wrong with the old bolts. I have no idea. Maybe they're one-time use. I don't know, but you got to be careful when you replace one of these. Like I say, the accumulator is going to be reused. You got to be careful with these sensors. All right, output speed sensor maybe, input maybe. Okay, this right here, you got to be extremely careful. Everything you have to be careful. Now I got this right here. Okay, yeah, so that's going to go in. It's just when you're going back in with it, you got to be extremely careful. Like I say, you might have to tie strap that level down so it'll stay in one position when you're getting ready to install this. Okay, but for the most part, there's no external speed sensors on this transmission. How many of y'all remember the A604 transmission? All right, 41TE. Those early built 41TEs had an input and an output speed sensor on them. Yeah, physical screw-in type sensor. No more. Everything is just similar to the NAG1 transmission. They use a plate. It's a plate inside, electrical plate inside that valve body that you have to split open and replace when you're having issues with that. That thing is freaking expensive. You might as well get a transmission if you need a valve body. All right, I'm talking too much. Now let me say this. Yes, anybody can replace a valve body, but any old body can't complete a valve body replacement job. Did y'all hear what I said? Let me say that again. Yes, even Cousin Pookie, anybody can replace a valve body. But not just anybody can get a new valve body to function. What I mean by that is, because it's going to be a TCM that has no guts in it, yes, this will have to be flash programmed. It will have to be married to the car. I'm not talking about a simple initialization. I'm not talking about initialize. I'm talking about it has to be flash. Based off the VM, or the information from the VM will be pulled into the TCM. You're not going to even be able to start, so you'll know you're missing a step. That's because when you install this, the computer have no way of knowing if the vehicle or if the transmission is even in park. Remember, you can't start unless you're in park or neutral. If the TCM don't know what gear it's in because you haven't updated or flashed it, you're never going to crank. You're not going to even crank. So yes, this thing will have to be flash programmed. If you don't have the proper equipment to do such, I'd advise you not to even accept the job. It's nothing like taking this job, somebody calling you, hey, can you put a valve body on? Sure, I can knock that out. I'm going to hop right on YouTube and see how easy it is and knock it out for you. but then they have to call a tow truck $200 or $300 to get it towed to some place that can program it. All right, you didn't factor that into the budget. I don't know. So I'm letting you know ahead of time as a DIY mechanic. If you have no way to get this flash, you might want to either factor that into your estimate or just simply don't take the job, because it has to be flash programmed. Let me say that again. Using a new valve body is essentially using a new computer transmission module. Yes, it has to be flash programmed to the vehicle. All right, that's all I'm gonna talk about on that. Now I gotta get this replaced, guys. I got work to do. So you know what? Let's get it. Alright guys, like I said, it's not a tutorial video. However, I will highlight a few things. Now you have to remove this accumulator like I spoke about earlier. You have to remove this, so unplug this connector from the accumulator, take the 3 bolts off and pull it down. Okay, all you're doing is fighting with those little seals right there. So just grab it and pull it back down, because you're not ready to take the valve body out until you get the accumulator out of the way. That is because you still have to remove this right here. The only way you're going to get to that is you got to unscrew this bolt right here. Damn, can y'all see? So I got this one and this one, and speed sensor have a T40 up there as well. So all 3 of those have to come out. Once those 3 is out, then I got 1 bolt holding this valve body out. Then that valve body should drop straight down. So please don't try to take the valve body out with the accumulator in it if your transmission equipped with it. Not all of them going to be equipped with it, but these 3 have to come out for this valve body to come out. Alright, so let's get with it. So once you get those 3 bolts out, now the speed sensor just simply pull straight down. See that? And it comes straight out. Now this is going to come with the new valve body. So now you're ready to remove your remaining valve body bolts and just drop it down. Alright, after you remove this screw right here, this is a slider, okay? It's actually holding this in place. So you need to pull this straight down like that. Now you just released it. You can now drop the valve body. Some people just pull that out. If that suits you, go ahead and pull it out. But because you got a new one anyway, so if you're going to replace it, just pull it out of your way. If not, you're ready to drop the valve body. Remember, this just slides in and out. Once you remove the screw, do all of that before you reach for the valve body and pull it out. Fairly simple. I only got 1 bolt holding it on now. All I got to do is unscrew that and the valve body going to come down. Let's get it. Alrighty guys, I got it out. There you go. Here's my valve body, guys, and you can't get it out without go ahead on popping this out, because like I say, this is stabbed into here. This is stabbed into that the correct way, and when you slide this up, it's just gonna lock it in place. So you have to remove this. First you have to push this down to clear it. Once you clear it, grab your pair of needle nose pliers and find a way to pull this out. Remember, you got a new one in the package anyway. All right, here's that what you got to replace that came in the package as well. So just reverse the procedure that you used to remove it to put it back together. Fairly simple, right? And remember, you got to go through the fill procedure. All right, I'm not gonna have much fluid in here left, so here's my fill hole right here. I'm gonna follow the fill procedure and fill it up properly, go test driving, and that should be it, guys. One last thing I want to point out, I did good. I got 3 bolts left, and each one of these 3 bolts go inside this accumulator to attach to the transmission. Now let me highlight this. You have to make sure, if I were you, I will make a notation on how far that's in, okay? Because if you don't get that in, you're going to be fighting with this, trying to get this to push up and slide through. If it's new, it's going to be a tight fit, but don't panic. Just find something the same diameter to help you push it in. You may hear a bloop as it go in. You can tell it's seated. Yes, it's all the way in. Now you will be able to slide this all the way up and put bolts right there. All right, I got these 3 left. Got all of these down, guys. These are torqued to specs. You need to torque these to spec. I mean, all right, make sure you torque the valve bodies. All right, one last thing I want to cover. You can see I added a little tie strap right here. That's to hold this gear or this lever in this position, so when I put this valve body in, I won't have to fight with that. I can just slide it straight through here. So you might want to find some kind of tie strap just to hold it up and make the installation real easy. All right, and one last thing, don't forget, it's easy to forget too. This is a new valve body. This connector is hidden in here. All right, make sure you pull that out and plug it in the valve body, in the accumulator. All right, yes, this accumulator has an electrical connector onto it right there. Make sure you plug that in the proper port, or you will have to take that pan back off and do it. Yeah, you might want to do everything now. I think that's about it. I tried to cover everything. So what's next is the accumulator, putting the pan, the filter on. Remember, the filter is integrated into the pan, so you're going to set the whole pan up, put those bolts in, torque it down to specs, and then do your proper refill procedure. All right, that's all I have, man. I appreciate y'all watching these freaking videos. I gotta go.